Oi oi! New music from Enter Shikari? Yes please. Shikari are one of my favourite bands of all time. I could go on about them and their whole career for hours, and maybe at some point in the future, I will. But today is not the day for a career retrospective. Let's get on to the song in question, The Dreamer's Hotel, which, when written down, has these squiggly brackets around it, but I assume I'm not supposed to say those out loud. Was released on the 10th of February 2020. The song was premiered on Annie Mac's show on BBC Radio 1. The same day, Enter Shikari announced that the new album that this song is off is called Nothing Is True and Everything Is Possible, and is due to be released on the 17th of April 2020. The song starts with these great drums, low and rumbling. Sounds like it's just the toms, bass drum and snare that are being used, creating this sort of jungle type of feeling. Very satisfying to bang your head along to, just on the half beats. You do that thing where your body does one beat and then your head does the other. You know what I mean. The drums are almost immediately joined by this alarm sounding noise. Exactly what is making it, I'm not entirely sure. My first instinct is that this is a scream or a shout of a human voice, heavily edited by distortion and electronics to make something that only faintly resembles a sound that a human can make. But the more I listen to it, the more I think it's possible that it's purely an electronic sound. Just a heavily distorted synthesizer, and the resemblance to human speech is just a result of the tendency to hear voices in places where there are no voices. Then the vocals and the electric guitar join in. Enter Shikari's lead singer Raul Reynolds is one of my favourite vocalists. I really like my vocalist to be distinct, and Raul certainly fits that. He brings this sense of bravado to songs like these, singing with his natural accent, which is increasingly uncommon and helps him to stand out. You can see him in your mind up on stage, a rowdy crowd in front of him, mic as close to his face as possible as he sings this verse, gesticulating and pointing at the crowd, pacing back and forward, or maybe hopping and headbanging along to the infectious beat. Then the bass joins in, and it's so heavy. I don't think I've ever heard Shikari use such a thick bass line. Low and rumbly, and pretty far forward in the mix as well. It takes the verse to that next level, adds that element of doom and menace to the verse, and builds tension as we head towards the chorus. The chorus is a massive contrast to the verse. With the bass and the heavy tom drums, the verse feels very grimy and underground, like Shikari could be performing at a dive bar or from a dimly lit punk club toilet. There's sweat dripping off the walls. People are crowd surfing all the way to the stage, only to immediately jump off it and crowd surf back again. There's chaos all around. The chorus feels massive and expansive, like it could fill an arena or a stadium. The electronic elements of the chorus really fill out the mix. There's a modulated or electronic voice underneath Raul's that's also the singing in the words of the chorus. Elsewhere in the band, the cymbals are finally being used, bringing that higher register to the song. The guitars are obviously still somewhat distorted, but it's that kind of distortion that's pleasant, that's acceptable to the masses, that can be played happily on pop music radio. Nothing like the filthy distortion of the verses. There's also various electronics going on in the background of the chorus, giving it that stadium sort of vibe. But maybe what makes the chorus most different from the verse is the backing vocals that it uses as accents, chiming in with oohs at opportune moments. There's this nice bridge where it's all clean guitar and vocals before we jump back in for a slightly modified chorus that melds the synthesizers of the chorus with the thicker, grimier bass line from the verse. More backing vocals are present here, helping to show the sing-along qualities of the chorus in much finer detail. The mini call and response sections reminding me of a boy band or the Beatles or something. But the line that is the mosh call, or the final line of the bridge section before the drop in the chorus, is the wonderful 5 stars and courtesy disco, which, in addition to being a very satisfying line to say, is going to be one of those great Enter Shikari lines that are chanted back at the band, like Yabba Dabba Do One Son from Gandhi Mate Gandhi. Then we get to the short outro, which mirrors the intro of the song, making it all feel very cyclical, ending on the line, "If love is blind, then hatred is deaf and well fed." I'm not going to pretend to fully understand the meaning behind the lyrics here, but they do really conjure some vivid images for me. I feel that Rao really has a knack for writing fantastic imagery and metaphor into his songs. I think that the chorus is the Dreamer's Hotel, and it's meant to be this more perfect and idealised place, but all rooms are vacant because people are quite happy to be arguing and angry at each other a lot of the time. Rao does go into slightly more detail behind the meaning of the song in his interview with Kerrang! Magazine. I'll post a link to the website version in the description of this episode, so you can read his thoughts and explanation there. I was partly right, but I'll let him tell it to you in his own words. Needless to say, I really, really like this song. It feels like an almost perfect fusion of filthy punk rock and bubblegum galactic pop music, both things I quite enjoy. It reminds me of another single from Shikari, Rat Race. That single wasn't off an album, and really doesn't get played that much, but it's one of my favourite songs of theirs. It's similar to Dreamer's Hotel, but arguably even more bananas. The verses are these absolutely frenetic collection of sounds, strange drum patterns and wild electronics. Dreamer's Hotel feels a more refined version of this song, executed with more control than the frankly feral Rat Race. If songs are of a similar quality to the Dreamer's Hotel are what we can expect from the upcoming Enter Shikari release, then I think we're all in for a wonderful treat. This was a review show. I think your experience will be enhanced by hearing in full the song featured in the show, which you can get hold of from your favourite music shop or online platform. Please support artists by buying their music or using services that guarantee artists a revenue. This episode was written and produced by me, Stephen Lemontree. Our outro music is Simplicity by Macroform Music. If you ever want to contact us, you can do so on Instagram and Twitter at nevetslt or email nevetslt@gmail.com. Life is realising that celebrities are people too. We'll see you next week.